We're live, folks. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Off the Wall. My name is Soul, and this is Jason over here. Jason, how you doing?
I'm doing great. And I have to say, as a fan of Off the Wall, I'm very excited to be here. And honestly, with everybody else, who else does not chair dance when you hear that theme music? Because I'm sitting here doing this every single time you guys do a thing. I'm sitting here dancing along to the music, and I now I get to do it live. So, yay!
Well, today we're reacting to the Emmy nominations, and we already got Pages Turners. They were not saying they have some thoughts. So if you are like Pages Turners, they were not. Let us know your thoughts in the live chat over there. But let's get straight to it.
Let's get straight to it.
All right, so the first that we're going to focus on is dramas. So, best drama series, we have Andor, Better Call Saul, The Crown, House of the Dragon, The Last of Us, Succession, The White Lotus, and Yellow Jacket. Now, when you saw this list, what was your first thoughts?
I was rather surprised that Andor hit the list. I like the show, and I'm a real big fan of the show. It's just
Mm,
with it being a Star Wars themed show and being very niche, I did not expect Andor to hit it. I know there were a lot of people that wanted it to hit and get nominated, but I was surprised that it actually did. So because normally it's a niche thing, so I wouldn't be surprised. However, again, HBO it's flexing its muscle a little bit because it got 5 noms, and I'm just like, you
mhm.
go HBO. So
Out of all of these, which one's your favorite?
I have to go Last of Us because I feel like every
Mm,
single episode it knocked it out of the damn park. Now, granted, I am a fan of the games, so I am one of those that I feel like it needed a couple of an episode or two because I didn't really. Uh, but I think for what it is, I think it hit a home, and I think it's the clear. I think it's honestly, it's. I think it's the person. In my personal favorite. I think it's the one I want to win, and I think it's going to be a surprise dark horse for winning. But I would not be surprised if Succession kind of cleans up in this
mm.
category.
I feel that this is Succession's year because it is the final season of Succession. I do agree with you on Andor. I was surprised to see it on this list. I have a feeling though too, and maybe it won't be till next year because that's the way like voters are that they wait till the final season. The feeling The Crown is might win, but I agree with you. I want it to be The Last of Us.
The only
It
problem
does.
with the only problem with the Crown is I think of all of the seasons that they've had so far, this one
Mm,
has to be the weakest of the ones that have been out previously. So
yeah,
I think like it's not. I'm hoping so. In like everyone always uses um Return of the King being
yeah,
the weakest of the three movies, but it's the one that got the most wins. But I think it's again. So it was again what you said, like Succession. I think they're gonna probably come out. I really don't because there's a lot of other shows in other
yeah,
categories that were on their last one, and I don't think they deserved. I don't think they deserve to win, but like
yeah.
it's the yeah. But again, it's like I think it's going to come down between it's probably going to be a Succession and I'm hoping Last of Us comes in and surprises because it got a lot of like critic buzz, Rotten Tomatoes buzz, and it's gotten a lot of good buzz, so we'll see how it goes. And
As
plus,
someone like me who does not like horror, loving the show.
mhm,
So dream pick for both of us is Last of Us, but who do you think is gonna win? Succession?
Succession.
Oh, I agree with you there. I feel like The Crown will get next year because that's when Diana dies.
Yep, especially if they do it well.
Yep. So sticking with dramas here, we have Best Actor in a Drama Series. We have Jeff Bridges for The Old Man, Brian Cox for Succession. It's his. Come on. Kieran Culkin for Succession, Bob Odenkirk for Better Call Saul, Pedro Pascal for The Last of Us. My hope, and Jeremy Strong for Succession. So we got three Succession people here. Are they going to have different people voting for them, and then Pedro Pascal can get through. What's your thoughts on this list?
I'm seriously hoping it's my two thoughts are the fact is I wanted to either be Jeff Bridges for the old man because I thought he was fantastic in that show, and but he always is Jeff Bridges, and Pedro for Last of Us because I feel like he and Bella kind of carried that show on their backs.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's one of those that, I would love to see Jeff Bridges and Pedro win it, but I feel like it's going to be, as you said, Brian Cox. It's going to be like I feel like this is going to be Brian Cox's Sunset Ride plus his, but we'll see what happens.
We'll see. And Paige's turn is they were not you. Brennan, I didn't know you if you wanted us to let you people know your actual name, but he chose Andor for best drama series. So let's, even though it won't win, is what he says, but maybe you never know. You never know. Uh, then
I'm
we
right there
go.
with you, buddy.
We go to Best Actress in a Drama Series. We have Sharon Horgan for Bad Sisters, Melanie Linsky for Yellow Jackets, Elizabeth Moss for The Handmaid's Tale, Bella Ramsey for The Last of Us, Carrie Russell for The Diplomat, and Sarah Snook for Succession. Now, I'm hoping for Bella Ramsey here, but could it be Elizabeth Moss for The Handmaid's Tale? Because everyone loves that show. I haven't
So
seen it, but everyone
yeah,
loves it.
so again, it's like I feel like this is of all of them. I think this is going to be one of the closer races because
Mhm.
you've got Sharon Horgan for Bad Sisters, Melody Linsky, Elizabeth Moss, and Bella. I think it's going to come down to one of those four.
Yeah,
Um, I liked Carrie Russell in The Diplomat. However, I feel like Netflix. She's going to have the Netflix curse on her because the
yeah,
fact is Netflix doesn't get a lot of love from from the Hollywood. I think it's the Hollywood Foreign Press. I think that's the Emmys. I could be wrong. The But I feel like they would get. I don't feel like it's going to be hers. I think it's going to be down to one of those four.
yeah.
Um, Elizabeth Moss and Melody Linsky have won in the past for their roles, so it could be go back to them too, or it could come. Personally, with you, I'm with you. I think Bella should get it because I think her and Bella. If I will look at it this way: if Pedro wins Best Actor, I think Bella's going to win Best Actress
Yeah,
because that means they're going to
I thought that.
show and actually give love to Last of Us. Because again, it comes down to these niche shows where I feel like
Mhm,
it could be like, it's a video game adaptation, which might,
mhm.
it's the whole comic book movie argument.
Yeah,
But again, the show kind of elevated itself above comic book status or get video game status. So, you never know. They could give Bella and Pedro some love and help them win these. So, which I
and I
really
think,
hope so because they were phenomenal in the show.
too, it having the HBO tag, even though Max took away the HBO, stupid decision, but having that HBO name next to your show really elevates it, especially for the Emmys. Where you're right, Netflix has kind of a curse both for the Oscars and um for the Emmys, but you never know. I haven't seen The Diplomat yet. I hear it's good. And with that, I kind of feel too first season curse as well with a show like that. There's some first seasons like an HBO show that will get all the love, but then other first seasons, if it's from other places, they're like, let's wait for season 2 or 3 to see if they deserve any awards.
And I will say this: if Bella doesn't win it this year, based off of what I know for the game, she'll win it next year, hands down. If it even comes anywhere close to the level of Last of Us, 2 comes out for Last of Us 1, I feel like it would be Bella's to lose next year,
Mm.
yeah, without a doubt.
For Best Supporting Actor, it is the fight of HBO. It's the fight of White Lotus v. Succession. We have F. Murray Abraham for White Lotus. I'm actually just going to do it by show. So Murray Abraham, Michael Imperioli, Theo James, and Will Sharp for White Lotus, Team White Lotus. And then we have Nicholas Braun, Matthew McFadden, and Alan Rook, and Alexander Skarsgård for Succession. So I don't know who they're going to pick, but it's either going to be Succession or White Lotus.
I feel like F. Murray Abraham is out. There's no way they're going to give it to him because of some of the stuff that has come out afterwards off of him. So I feel like I don't think it's going to be him. I think you're looking at either Alexander Skarsgård, or I think it's going to be one of the Succession folks. Because as much as I thought White Lotus was interesting this past season, it's not as good as last year, and like it was just,
Yeah.
and that's just my opinion. But again, I think it's, this is going to be Succession. This is going to be Succession swan song. So the chances of Succession not taking some of these awards is, and have being the big winners not in the drama category, is not going to be, surprising.
Yeah, I do feel that it's going to be more Succession. Do they go for the bigger name with Alexander Skarsgård, or do they give it to a lesser named uh, Nicholas Braun, Matthew McFadden, Alan Rook? Who knows? But yeah, I kind of feel it's Alexander Skarsgård's.
Yep. He was fat. He was good. He was good.
Yeah.
And the episodes of Succession that I've seen, he was really good. So I think it's going to be very interesting.
Now we go to Best Supporting Actress in a Drama Series. We have Jennifer Coolidge for White Lotus. I think it's hers. Uh, Elizabeth Debicki for The Crown. Megan Faye for The White Lotus. Sabrina Pagatori for The White Lotus. Aubrey Plaza, White Lotus. Rhea Seehorn for Better Call Saul. J. Smith Cameron for Succession. Or Simona Tabasco for The White Lotus. I feel that this is going to be the one where it's not a Succession pick. I think it's Jennifer Coolidge.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be Jennifer Coolidge. I would love to see Aubrey Plaza come in and sneak it away from her, and take it away from her, but because I love Aubrey Plaza, but but I feel like this is Jennifer Coolidge's to win, because last year she took it and kind of stole the
Yeah.
show, and I think it's going to be another one of those where they just, here you go.
Yep, I agree. Well, we're gonna now go to Best Comedy Series. So we have Abbott Elementary, Barry, Only Murders in the Building, Ted Lasso, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Jury Duty, Wednesday, and The Bear. And I think you have some thoughts on Wednesday.
I do. I honestly, I don't feel like Wednesday's a comedy. It is one of these. This is one of those categories. It always annoyed me when Glee kept on getting nominated for a comedy back in the
Mm-hmm.
day, because of the fact it was like comedy or musical, and I was like, Glee is not a comedy. Get it out of here and go away. But I
Hey, The
feel like,
Martian was a
yeah,
Best Comedy or Musical at the Golden Globes.
right. And again, it's like one of those. It's like, come on now, this is not a comedy. But the funny story I love about this, and it's just one of those little quirks about my wife that I love, is that she's not a binger, but she watched the show every single Wednesday, once a week, as it was going on. Even though all the episodes were available, she watched it every single Wednesday without fail, and it was just one of those little fun quirks that I loved it. It was fun. It was. I've seen. I was actually not looking forward to watching the show, and then my wife raved about it, and then I kind of watched it a little bit, and then I found out that Alfred Go and Miles Millar, creators of Smallville, were the executive producers and showrunners of Wednesday. So it made me even more want to watch it once I found that out. So I do not think it's going to win. Because I feel like there's a gigantic powerhouse in this category I would be
Mm-hmm.
insanely shocked if it doesn't win. But it's going to come but I feel like the top two for this category is going to be either Ted Lasso or Abbott Elementary. But I feel like it's going to be
Yeah.
Ted Lasso. But I would not be surprised if Abbott Elementary sneaks this one. But it will definitely, or it could, as a dark horse, the Bear, because Bear's
Yeah.
getting a lot of love, but I don't think it's got enough juice to overtake the hype that is Ted Lasso. So
So for me, I think this is Ted Lasso again, but I would like to see Abbott Elementary sneak it in only because even though I've liked the last season or most of the last season of Ted Lasso, it is not the strongest season of Ted Lasso. And it kind of feels like, are they going to do that swan song? Here's your award. Thank you for the good vibes for all 3 seasons. Or are they going to be actually okay, this show's actually better this season for this year. Um, I haven't seen The Bear yet. I want to see it. It looks so good. And sure, it would be funny, like a dark horse jury
Jury
duty.
Duty is phenomenal. If I will tell you this right now, guys, if anyone who has not seen Jury Duty, I cannot recommend this show enough. It is absolutely hilarious. It will knock you out of your seats. It is one of those where I don't know if I'm not spoiling it, but the entire premise of the show, it is a faux reality show, but there
Mhm.
is one every single person or in the episode every single person in the show except for one person is an actor, and the guy who's the one person does not know that everybody else around him is an actor. James Marsden is in this show and he plays himself, a fictionalized version of himself, and he is fantastic. Again, it's one of those where I was surprised he did. Oh, he is good. I just saw who it was. I looked farther down the list and he is, because he was fantastic in the show. But like again, this is like I would love to see it kind of sneak in, but again, it's Freeview, so it's got it's a technically an Amazon show, so it's got a little
Yeah.
bit of power behind it. Again, is it enough to overtake the powerhouse that is Abbott Elementary and Ted Lasso? I don't think so. I would
It's
just
the winner in my
yeah,
heart,
yeah.
though.
It's that little one right here. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that little
No.
indie darling that sneaks in to win Best Picture
Right,
and shit.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the coda of the best comedy
Exactly.
series. But now going to best actress in comedy series, we have Christina Applegate for Dead to Me, Rachel Brosnahan for The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Quinta Brunson for Abbott Elementary, Natasha Lyonne for Poker Face, or Jenna Ortega for Wednesday. I feel it's either between Quinta or Jenna, and I think it's Quinta.
I think this is Quintus to lose, because I think Quinta is fantastic in Abbott Elementary. She basically has that show. She is that show. Um, I don't. They could do the swan song thing of giving it to Rachel Brosnahan. Again, don't think
Mm.
so because I don't think, as much as I liked Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, I don't think the final season was as good as the previous ones.
Mhm.
So I think, and Abbott Elementary is just right now too damn good to not give it to
Did not
Quinta.
get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think, and as much as people love Jenna Ortega as Wednesday, I just don't think she's good. I don't think she's. I don't think she's. I don't think it. She. It would not surprise me if she won because she is a fantastic actress.
Yeah.
But again, I don't think Wednesday is a comedy, so I don't think it. I don't think
Yeah.
I don't think she's going to get the votes enough to unseat Quinta. That's still my only
Yeah.
problem.
I feel it's between the two of them, but I think this is Quintus to lose it. I agree with you there. Now, going to Best Actor in a Comedy Series, we have Bill Hader for Barry, Martin Short for Only Murders in the Building, Jason Segel for Shrinking, Jason Sudeikis for Ted Lasso, and Jeremy Allen White for The Bear. So, is Jason gonna get that three-peat?
I don't know, because I would have to say yes, um, just because of who's nominated. I absolutely love Shrinking. I forgot to bring this up when we were talking about categories for the comedy series because I feel like it is an absolute shame that Shrinking did not get a nom for best comedy series. Because I think it is just, it's honestly like if you have Apple TV and you have any and you like Ted Lasso, you will absolutely love Shrinking. And honestly, I feel like Shrinking season one actually might be better than season three of Ted Lasso. Um, and it is a one. If we talk about snubs, it's one of those. There's a big snub in that on that show that just did not get a nom, and I'm kind of annoyed that he didn't. Um, but again, this could be either Jason Segel sneaking it out, but I think it's going to be Sudeikis winning it out.
Do you think that maybe they give it to Jason Segel because it didn't get the nom for best comedy, or do you think it's a we don't highly rate this show, but we didn't have anyone better to nominate in best actor?
Oh, that's a good question because I feel like the problem with Shrinking is not a lot of people watched it.
Mm,
It's kind of want to be like it's one of those under the radar kind of shows. I feel like if they did, it would not surprise me. But again, I think it's like there is the two. The problem with it is the fact is the two main the male and the female cast members got best actor, best actress noms, but the or I think she got best supporting. Um, she might have gotten best actress. I can't
best
remember.
supporting Jessica Williams.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just best supporting. Because it's the fact is, it's like Jessica Williams is fantastic and fantastic, but again, I think like it's the shame is that one of those it didn't get a nom for best, and I don't think it got one
Mm,
for writing, which is one of those ones that really upset me because like writing was Brett Goldstein is one of the writers, and again,
Mhm.
he's one of the EPs, and I feel like it's one of those things where you could have started giving him some love on this outside of Ted
Yeah.
Lasso, but and showing what a talent that he actually is. But yeah, and it's we're fans, so it's one of those
Yeah.
things. We're gonna disagree with critics and
Yeah.
the powers that hold those awards, and vote, because
Yeah.
there's some people that I feel like Big Bang Theory should have won every single year it was nominated, and Jim Parsons won once I think once or twice, and it's just one of those things where you're like, how in the world did he not win as Sheldon? Or
Yeah.
here's another fun fact that I found this out the other day. I don't know how many people watch The West Wing, but Martin Sheen, who played President Bartlett on The West Wing, never once got a win as
Wow.
main president of the West Wing, and he is fantastic in that show, and he
Mhm.
never once won.
Well, the what makes things harder for the TV nominations is there's so much more episodes of TV to watch than there are like when you're watching a movie.
Yep.
So the voters here, I do sympathize, but sometimes there are things that we like here that we're like, come on.
Exactly.
Um, but going now to Best Supporting Actor in a Comedy Series, we have Anthony Kerrigan for Barry, Phil Dunster for Ted Lasso, Brett Goldstein for Ted Lasso, James Marsden for Jury Duty, Eben Moss Backrack for The Bear, Tyler James Williams for Abbott Elementary, and Henley Winkler for Barry. Now, just to give my thoughts real quick, I want it to be Phil Dunster. If it's gonna be Ted Lasso, I want it to be Phil Dunster over Brett Goldstein. I love Brett Goldstein. I love Roy fucking Kent. But man, the acting that Phil Dunster did in this season 3 is probably the best part of season 3 of Ted Lasso. So I'm hoping it's his. But your thoughts on Best Supporting Actor?
Completely agree. There's a snub in here that I need to bring up here. This is where Harrison Ford should have gone for Shrinking. And I feel like, and I will send you clips afterwards if you need to know, because I know you haven't seen it. So it's one of those where, like, there are clips of Harrison Ford just absolutely you can tell he is having an absolute blast playing this character. And I feel like he should have gotten a nom here. Um, but again, I think if Ted Lasso wins, it needs to be Phil, because I think
Mm-hmm.
Phil, like Dunster, like, was fantastic in seasons 1, 2, and 3, and this is basically like the icing on the cake, or whatever, the you know
Yeah.
cherry on the top of the sundae, whatever analogy you want to use, to do this. But I feel like it should be this needs to be Phil. But again,
Yeah.
this is one where, um, like, yeah, James Marsden could surprise for Jury
Yeah.
Duty, because he is fantastic. But I think it's, again, like, this is
The winner's
definitely,
in our
yeah,
heart,
the
like we
winners in
said
our
earlier.
hearts. The winners in our hearts. But like, the winners in our hearts would be, if I could, I would honestly give it to the three of them, because I want it to be Brett, Phil, and James Marsden, and
Yeah.
and a fourth one to Harrison Ford, because he should be in here. But
Yeah.
here we
Be
go.
like Mean Girls where she splits the tiara and throws.
Here's a piece for you. Here's a piece for you. Yeah.
And now we go to Best Supporting Actress in a Comedy Series. We have Alex Bornstein for the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Ayo Edebiri for the Bear, Janelle James for Abbott Elementary, Cheryl Lee Ralph for Abbott Elementary, Juno Tempo for Ted Lasso, Hannah Waddingham for Ted Lasso, and Jessica Williams for Shrinking. I know your choice is probably Jessica Williams.
Honestly, I would have to go with Cheryl Lee Ralph, because I honestly think that she is, if it's I loved her speech from last year. She made me cry last year when she won, and it just made me, it
Mhm.
was like, it's such a moving speech. Now, I guess speeches don't really do, like, one of those things, but it would just be like, it would be Jessica Williams should have gotten the nom. I don't think she needs to win. But I think it should definitely be there. I would go with either Cheryl Lee Ralph or Hannah.
I
So,
mean, Hannah should win everything ever because I love her so much, but it would be nice to see Cheryl win.
mhm. Now, here's a
Alright.
question though, Sol. Do you think, Alex Borstein, could they do, because she has not? I don't think, I would have to check this, but I don't think she's won for, Marvelous Miss Maisel, and she's been right up there with, Rachel Brosnahan carrying that show. So it would be really kind of, I would not be surprised if she was a dark horse pick to like sneak it and get it, because again, it's last season and
Yeah.
go that way. It could be that, but
I feel that if Rachel Brosnahan wins, then probably. But if Rachel Brosnahan doesn't win, then probably not. I
yep,
think they'll go together.
yep, that makes sense. Makes total sense.
All right, let's keep it trucking. Now we go to best limited series. Is it gonna show? Oh, is it showing?
It showed for like a second. There we go.
Oh, I'm it's not showing on my end, but there it is. Hopefully for you guys. There we go. Beef on Netflix, which I've only seen the first episode of, but hilarious. Uh, Daisy Jones and the Six. Fleischman is in trouble. Dahmer and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Is this Daisy Jones's to lose?
No, I think this is Beef's to lose. I think this is going to be
Mm.
Beef. I think this is going to break the Netflix curse. Now here's the thing. Netflix doesn't normally do these well, but sometimes they can kind of like. But there was a lot of like love for Beef out there, so
Hmm.
I feel like Beef could like come in here and get it. I would love to see Daisy Jones win because I felt like that show was great. Fleischman could, but I feel like this is going to be Beef, honestly.
Yeah.
But the dark, I know what Brendan's going to say. He wants Kenobi. Um, I am really surprised that Kenobi made it here.
Me too.
Yeah,
Me
I
too.
did not think it was going to get a nom in this category. I felt like if it was going to get noms, it was going to get special effects or like lighting or one of
Mm,
those type
I
deals.
agree.
But like, I did not expect it. I didn't think it was on the level of the other shows, and it's kind of like this is one of those like, well, we kind of need a fifth. Let's pick a fifth. You got a fifth? Let's just, oh, that one works.
No, Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Well, we'll give a nod to Disney Plus. We're not going to actually vote for them, but we'll give them
Yeah,
a
exactly.
nod.
Exactly. I don't think it should be Dahmer. But I think that definitely this is going to come down between Beef and Daisy Jones.
Yeah, I agree. Now, and ha- for all you book nerds out there that knows that I read a bunch, Daisy Jones and the Six is actually not a book. I haven't read that book yet, and it's super popular.
What?
It's a super popular. I know all these books behind me,
Wow.
and I haven't read that book. But sticking with limited or anthology series, best actress we got Lizzie Kaplan for Fleischman is in Trouble, Jessica Chastain for George and Tammy, Dominic Fishback for Swarm, Catherine Hahn for Tiny Beautiful Things, Riley Keough for Daisy Jones and the Six, and Ali Wong for Beef. I think it's gonna be Daisy Jones or like Riley or Ali, but could it be Jessica Chastain for George and Tammy?
No, I think it's gonna be. I think if in this case, Lizzie Kaplan for Fleischman, um,
Hmm.
it's either gonna be. I feel like it's either gonna be Lizzie Kaplan or Ali Wong. Those are my two
Okay.
that I think it's gonna be. Um, Riley could, she could, she had moments, but again, like it's one of those where like she did come out of nowhere. I mean, she hasn't really come out of nowhere, but and critically, she came out of nowhere. So it's a very strong possibility that she could. This could be Riley's. My wife, I loved her in the role, because I love Daisy Jones, but like, and I was fiending every day to get to be able to watch the episode. So and I felt like she was phenomenal in the role. But again, I think it's going to be. I think this is Ali Wong's to lose, but I think it's going to come down. But it could be, Ali Wong, Lizzie Kaplan, or Riley.
And I mean, Ali Wong's so talented. I would love seeing her win because if you've ever seen any of her comedy specials, like all of them are fantastic and they're all on Netflix. So
Go watch. Plug.
go watch that and then go watch Beef.
Yep.
Um, for Best Actor in a Limited or Anthology Series, we got Taron Egerton for Black Bird, Kumail Nanjiani for Welcome to Chippendales, Evan Peters for Dahmer, Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story, Daniel Radcliffe for Weird, the Al Yankovic story, Michael Shannon for George and Tammy, and Stephen Yun for Beef. It's gonna be Stephen Yun,
This one's gonna be tough.
maybe.
This one might be tough because I feel like Again, you've got some powerhouse actors in these and some of these roles at
I feel
like
though Daniel Radcliffe
Daniel
might.
Radcliffe. I'm not gonna lie, Daniel Radcliffe looked and acted like Weird Al. It's the whole entire thing. It comes down to the whole. It's the niche thing. So you wonder
Yeah.
like if it's too niche.
And it's
Um,
Roku channel too.
Again, it's Roku channel, so it's like, did it get plugged enough? Did it get like the like, hey, come on, give us some love type deal? Like if like Taron Egerton is phenomenal in Blackbird, and
Mhm.
that's I believe Apple Plus. Um, so then you've got you know, I'm looking at these up. Kumail Nanjiani, that he was again. There's another one. Evan Peters is a really good one, but again, I believe that one's Netflix. Um,
Yeah. And
so
I kind of feel that even though he did really well in the role, I think because it's Dahmer and because like people like after the Netflix show were having the hots for Dahmer, I feel like they're not going to give the award just for that. Like, here's the nomination because you were good, but we can't give you the award because it might be weird.
it would be interesting though if Jessica Chastain, it depends on if Jessica Chastain are for George and Tammy and Michael Shannon. So if like one of them wins in one category, does the other one win in the other category?
Mm,
So it's like it's some of these we were talking earlier about like Bella and Pedro for Last of Us.
yeah.
So is it going to come down again? Are the limited going to be the same one where if one wins
Mm,
the other one's going to win? Because you'll
right.
see where it pulls the writers, pulls the voters.
Voters, yeah.
But but I don't know. It could go either honestly
Mm.
either way. Personally, my hard choice is Daniel Radcliffe. But you know,
Harry Potter.
I would love it to see if Harry Potter because he is so good. He is so good playing as Weird Al, and he's so good. Yeah.
There we go. Best Supporting Actor in a Limited or Anthology Series. We have Murray Bartlett for Welcome to Chippendales, Paul Walter Hauser for Blackbird, Richard Jenkins for Dahmer, Joseph Lee for Beef, Ray Liotta for Blackbird, Young Mazzino for Beef, and Jesse Plemons for Love and Death. What are your thoughts?
My wife and I were talking about this one, and we both think it's Ray Liotta. It's a posthumous way. They give it to Ray Liotta.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah. Any more thoughts on that?
This one's like again, it's like it's the other ones. It's like, but this is one of those where it would be like, I don't. There's like this one could go either way, but
Mm,
I would be stunned if Ray Liotta didn't get this one.
yeah, I feel that. Now, Best Supporting Actress, we got Annalee Ashford for Welcome to Chippendales, Maria Bello for Beef, Claire Danes for Fleischman is in Trouble, Juliette Lewis for Welcome to Chippendales, Camila Marone for Daisy Jones, Nicey Nash Betts for Dahmer, and Merritt Weaver for Tiny Beautiful Things. Your thoughts on this?
My heart pick is Camilla Maroney for Daisy Jones. For those who don't know, she played the wife. Um, but I think this one might either go to Maria Bello or Claire Danes.
I can see that. Although I think if Daisy Jones is gonna get any love, it's probably gonna get it in this category.
Yep. Yeah, because then unfortunately the problem with Riley is that she's just in a category stocked with just mad, really phenomenal performances. So it's just one of those. It's like they could surprise. She could
Yeah.
pull like our heart choice, and they go with our heart
Hey,
choice. But
and people love that show. Like they really do love that show. So I can see it giving some surprises.
now, do you so there's always been a very good talk like a talk about like when the shows come out compared to when like they're like some of the shows that came out earlier in the year and didn't get the aren't getting the love near the very end of award season or where like the nomination part of it. Like, do you think that might play a role?
I think when it comes to movies, the earlier it is in the year, the worse it is for getting an Oscar nom and or win. But I think it's the opposite for TV. And my reasoning for this is that you have more of the year to actually watch it. Because how many times does a show come out in January and you don't watch it until June, July?
Good point. Very good
Um,
point.
where if a show's coming out at the end of the year and you have so many movies and TV to watch already that you might miss it once you have to vote on something. So there's more likelihood of you having eyes on something if it came out earlier in the season,
I got
earlier in
that.
the year.
Yeah. Plus, you got that almighty dollar of those big, gigantic studios that are pushing hard for people to
Hmm.
be like, "Come on, voters, check this out, check this out, check this out."
So I know that you have some thoughts on the next
Do.
category. We're gonna skip a little bit to outstanding animated, which we got Bob's Burgers, Intergalactic, Jendy's Tarkovsky's Primal, Rick and Morty, and the ever nominated The Simpsons. I will say when I saw this, I've never heard of Intergalactic or Primal before, although the poster for Intergalactic made me go, this
Hmm.
looks a little bit like the animation for Spider-Verse, and I'm digging it. So I like, well, I need to be watching the show, obviously, and see if it's that good. But I know you have some thoughts. So
I'm gonna go with Mike on this one. I think I'm gonna channel my inner Mike, and I'm gonna say it's either gonna be it's gonna be Bob's Burgers. I'm gonna go with Bob's
Mm.
Burgers. Um, I am I know I'm gonna like there's gonna be the audience out there when they find out what I'm about to say, they're gonna want to take my nerd card, but I am not a fan of Rick and Morty. So it's like I find it to be a little ridiculous, and
I've never seen a single
yeah.
episode.
I find the grandpa to be so annoying. But it's just like,
And any
yeah.
viewers we had turned it off right now. Uh,
But again, like this one is again, I'm the same way with you. Is I hadn't even heard of the other two. Um, so there's a very strong possibility that one of those two is going to win and just completely
yeah.
stun. But like but I think this is going to be Bob's Burgers. It could be Rick and Morty, but I
The
would be surprised.
Simpsons.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be Simpsons or Bob's Burgers. I think it's gonna be one of
Yeah.
those.
My mind tells me Bob's Burgers or The Simpsons, but just seeing the poster, not even seeing the animation, but the poster for Intergalactic, I feel that I just have this feeling. This is based off of no evidential facts whatsoever because I've never seen the show. But I have a feeling that if the show looks as good as the poster does and people watch it, then that might be like a sneak. And maybe Primal too. Primal looks like a very interesting
Can you bring up
animation
the posters
style.
one more? Can you bring up the posters again? I want to see if they show the studios that do it. I know Bob's Burgers and Simpsons are Fox.
Let's see. Intergalactic is on Netflix.
Okay.
And then
Primal looks to be like
Primal.
Primal looks like to be maybe FX or Amazon, maybe FX or
Let's
Comedy or um what is it? The one Rick and Morty's on.
mm, it's on Cartoon Network.
Yeah, there we go. So this one could be, it could be because the fact is it's Netflix. Netflix could pull it here, but like, but again, Netflix has a bad track record at the Emmys. It doesn't normally get a lot of love, so we'll see where that one
Hmm.
goes.
They may break their seal
Yep.
on this award show. Now let's go on to best structured reality programming. We have Antique Roadshow, Diners, Drive-ins, and Dives, Love Is Blind, Queer Eye, and Shark Tank. Now, if I had to go heart pick Queer Eye, I've seen a lot of Shark Tank too. I haven't seen any Shark Tank from the last year, but I've seen so much Shark Tank that it's kind of one of those that like, oh, that's a show that you're hanging out with your family and you put on in the background. That's what the structured reality programming is the background TV programming. So I would
I
like it to be Queer Eye, but
I'm gonna have to go with Queer Eye because it's the lesser of the ones that I don't. I really don't want Love Is Blind. I thought that show was ridiculous and not. Yeah, no. Um, I would love to see Guy Fieri, but like for Diners, Drives, and Dash, but like I think it's Queer Eye because Queer Eye has a tendency of taking this category usually, and I think it's gonna be Queer Eye.
you know what would make me laugh? The biggest laugh is if Antique Roadshow won.
Right? PBS for the win. PBS just comes and knocks it, and just like steals it. Look at that. Come on.
That would be hilarious.
I've seen like one episode of the show of the series like by accident one time going like, what is that?
I've
So
seen like a few seconds when you're like going through the
click, click.
channels. Yeah. Although that's like an old timey thing now is channel surfing.
We just dated ourselves so clicking and I have a clicker
Yeah.
and going like this.
But yeah. Now to best unstructured reality TV, and there is some unstructuredness in the
Oh God,
shows.
yes there is.
We have Vanderpump Rules, Welcome to Wrexham, Selling Sunset, which I've never heard of before, but apparently is a Netflix show, RuPaul's Drag Race, Untucked, and Indian Matchmaking. Now, I would like it to be Welcome to Wrexham, but if it's not going to be Welcome to Wrexham, it needs to be Indian Matchmaking. The rest of them, I don't care.
I 100% agree with you. I 100% agree with you. I feel like this needs to be. I would love it to be, and because I want Ryan Reynolds and oh God,
Rob McElhaney.
yeah, thank you, Rob McElhenney to like the party that would be if they were there at the
Yeah.
Emmys and walked up on stage. I would just love to hear their speech. Because this is the year they get promoted and they get like
Yeah.
they get
And yo, that was a party. That was a
yo,
huge
could you
fucking
just
party
imagine?
to get
Could you just
to
imagine?
League 2.
I
That
know, right? To get to League 2. Could you imagine if they get promoted again to like up to like the
Holy shit,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it'd be crazy. But again, like it's one of those where that's like the feel good because
Mhm.
that again, Welcome to Wrexham is such a good show and it makes you. I mean, honestly, my wife and I were talking about we wanted to go to Wales just because we wanted to see, we wanted to see it, and
Yeah.
and again, if I was able to go to North Carolina in the next couple of days, I would be down there watching, the Wrexham AFC and playing Chapel Hill. But but yeah, I feel
Tickets
like
were expensive.
oh yes, they were. That's the reason why I didn't go. But Wrexham, I think it's Wrexham or Indian Matchmaking because
Yeah.
those are the two. The rest of
I
them
mean, I love
or
both of
RuPaul's,
those.
those would be the
Yeah.
three. But then
I love both of their
yeah,
shows. I don't want it to be RuPaul's Drag Race. Although like I've seen a lot of RuPaul's Drag Race, but I don't know. I feel like just the interesting part of Indian matchmaking and then just the heart in Welcome to Wrexham,
mhm.
like those two deserve it more than the other three.
Just as long as it's not Bravo, because Selling Sunset, oh, that's just trash, and so is Vanderpump Rules. And I know that probably just killed my chances of ever meeting one of the Vanderpump Rules girls, but like it doesn't matter. That it's trash. Like it's
Yeah.
trash, and I just like I feel like it's one of the like it needs to be one of the three, the feel goods. And I'm just looking, and honestly, again, I think like the only reason why I would want it to be RuPaul's Drag Race is because I would want RuPaul to give one heck of a speech at the Emmys.
True, true.
Yeah.
And we joked about when I went to London earlier this year, Boggs and I joked about getting on a train to Wrexham to go see a game, but we had tickets for the Fulham versus Leeds. Leeds. Um, no, straight up sidetracking here, but because Leeds is a very hated club in England, and I'm walking around with a Leeds jersey,
Oh
like a Leeds
man.
kit, and
Oh
but
wow.
anytime there was someone that was a Leeds fan, like where we were walking down the streets, they'd go Leeds, and it
um,
was the funniest thing.
No, I know that Wrexham is like getting some, hate right now from other football fans because of the fact is that they feel like they bought their promotion. But
No,
again, it's one of those.
you have to win. I've seen MLS fans getting, and like I have season tickets to Inter Miami, which is an MLS team. Yay, Messi's here.
Yay,
But I
Messi!
had the season tickets before Messi. But I seen MLS fans getting very upset that people were watching tier a fifth division team in England and not watching MLS, which is the first division here in the US. And it's like, because there's a story behind it. So MLS, if you put some stories behind your teams, like there should be a docu series about St. Louis. They were an expansion team this year, and just the fact of like the city of St. Louis, how important soccer is in that city. There should be a docu series. There should be that storytelling that happens here in the MLS and in the US, but we don't have as good a storytelling for soccer here as we do for other sports, and hopefully that changes in the future. But we got to keep trucking.
But honestly, like as a fan of the show and of football, like, oh my God, do I want season two of Welcome to Wrexham? Because I want
Yes,
to
to
see
watch them
them
get
get
promoted.
promoted. I want that
Yes.
finale to see them get promoted because it was so heartbreaking in the finale of this past season when they didn't get promoted. So it was like,
Yeah.
but it was in the case, but seeing the finale of the season two where they would get promoted and to seeing the passion and the love of those fans, it's just like, Rob McElhenney compared him to Philly, like,
Mhm.
and I
Yeah.
think it's like it's South Philly, and I kind of honestly like,
Yeah. I
it's yeah,
It's 100%.
yep,
It is. Philadelphia was such a perfect like comparison to Wrexham
hmm
and those fans and that town. But to continue on, we got some outstanding TV movies. Um, my heart wants Dolly Parton Magic Mountain Magic Christmas because she is queen and I love her. We got Fire Island, whatever that is, Hocus Pocus 2, Prey, and Weird, the Al Yankovic story. Now, I've only seen the Dolly Parton one because she's a queen, and I don't like scary movies, which is why I haven't seen Prey, and I just haven't gotten around to watching the Weird Al movie yet. So I think this is you've seen most of
I
these,
have,
so you
yeah.
can speak on this category way better
So
than I can.
I would like to say the fact is that like Hocus Pocus 2 was garbage and never should have gotten nominated. I am so annoyed that it got nominated in this category because it
What
is an
other
absolute
TV movies are out there?
just pick one. You could have picked some random Hallmark movie and thrown it on here, and I feel like it would have been better than Hocus Pocus 2. So it just absolutely is a travesty that it got nominated. Again, you're going to nominate Hocus Pocus 2, but not Harrison Ford. Hello, I will die on this hill. Um, but like but again, like, and if it wins, I'm going to be really annoyed. Um,
I
but
don't think
like,
it's gonna win.
I don't think it's going to win it.
I think it's gonna be Prey.
I think it's gonna be Weird Al or Prey. I
Mm,
would like you. I would love to see it be Dolly Parton. Just
yeah.
to see Dolly go up on stage. I don't know if
Mhm.
she will. But again, like I would love it to see Dolly Part. Like it's either gonna to me, it's either gonna be Weird Al or Prey.
Yeah. I I think
And
out of
also,
and
I'm gonna point this one thing out. So I know you don't like horror, but Prey is not a horror. It's
okay.
not. Would not classify. You know me in horror. I don't do well with horror either. If you liked the original Predator movie, I feel like this um, is in some respects is actually better than the Arnold Schwarzenegger original. Um,
Mm.
but it's really well done, and it was actually surprising that it actually got put in this category. But again, hey, I'm not going to deny it because as long as it
Yeah.
beats Hocus Pocus 2, I don't care.
I feel like the three I'm gonna show the picture again. The three on the top are long shots to win. The two on the bottom, those are what's fighting for. And I feel that just how much people spoke about Prey and how good it is, I think that's gonna be the winner. And there's plenty of other categories and plenty of other nominations to speak on, but we're gonna go one last category for this review of the nominations, and that's the best scripted variety series, which is always SNL's to lose, but I hope they lose. We got a Black Lady sketch show, which is phenomenal. Last week tonight with John Oliver, which is also phenomenal. So I hope HBO takes out SNL. But your thoughts on what it should be?
So we're not talking about the actual nomination, but Pedro Pascal was nominated for for hosting his episode of
Mm-hmm.
Saturday Night Live. My wife made this really funny joke, and I find it absolutely true. That the looking at who gets nominated in that hosting category and watching their episode is the episode of SNL that's actually worth it of that season.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that says something for this past season, this season of SNL,
Yeah.
because the season of SNL that got nominated is not very good. Um, Black Lady, the Black Lady sketch show, the Black Lady comedy sketch show, and Last Week Tonight, this is theirs to lose because, and I honestly, in my heart, I think this should be John Oliver's because I believe he
Mm-hmm.
won it last year. Um, but it's again, it's one of those where I want it to be one of the either the Black Ladies comedy sketch show or John Oliver. Again, HBO. This is an HBO
Yeah.
powerhouse and coming in and killing it because they're two strong shows, and as long as it's not SNL, because SNL is just no. Mm-mm.
Yeah. I agree. SNL has kind of
The writer strike did it a favor. The writer strike has done it a favor.
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
and hopefully it can get back to its heyday of. And we've seen so many SNL, like, just because of how long it's been on the air. Um, and it's gone up and down. It's been a roller coaster. And there's even in an episode, you have really good sketches and really bad ones, which YouTube has helped, where instead of having to watch the whole show, you just watch the sketches that you
Yep.
love over and over again. So I hope SNL comes back and is the powerhouse that it was, because this used to be SNL's category to
Hmm.
lose. And anyone else who went against SNL is like, thank you for the nomination. I'll show up and look pretty. But uh
But I
I
think
would
this
like
is, I think this shows the power of the power of change and how it's
mhm,
like we're evolving because
yeah.
shows like SNL is still it's a weekly like Saturday sketch show, and it's just not as there's been too many like Chappelle Show and the one with uh like there's a
The
ton
Key
out
and
there now.
Peele.
Key and Peele, like
Yeah.
Key and Peele and some of these others that just absolutely do it better and have done it better.
And
And
also ended.
right. And and the Black Ladies the sketch comedy show. That one is a better version of SNL because it basically is SNL but better. It's just it's a very well done show, and I just feel like it's just SNL is sort of like I would compare it. I know you're not like a sports game person, but like a Madden. Like
Mm.
It's Madden for like video games because it doesn't have a lot of competition, so it's not doesn't really innovate and as get better, so it kind of rests on its laurels, and I feel like that's where this is going. It's just like it's just kind of sitting there, kind of like not really evolving. And I think it needs to evolve to get better.
And maybe it's a good thing if it loses a few years in a row and decides to maybe be better. So, um, any final thoughts on your reactions to these nominations? You can speak on the other nominations that we haven't. If you have a gripe on any
I
of the
do.
other ones that we haven't spoken about yet, but the floor is yours.
This year was Harrison Ford's in comedy, and I feel like Harrison Ford and Shrinking in general should have gotten a little bit more love. I understand the reason why it didn't because it didn't get the views.
Mm,
But I feel like it's one of those shows that needed to get some love and didn't. I'm really glad it got two noms, for two of the actors, but I do believe it should have gotten writing and it should have gotten comedy. Brett Goldstein, you guys have seen him in Ted Lasso. He is absolutely amazing in Ted Lasso, but as a writer, he is even better. And he is an executive producer and showrunner for Shrinking. And I feel like and Shrinking is fantastic. And it is like, it needs to get some more love, hopefully for next year. And we'll see how it goes. But Harrison Ford, mwah, you deserved it. And I'm sorry you didn't get the love in comedy. So.
I mean, you've been begging me to watch the show for a while now, and it's on my list. I'm gonna watch it. I swear. It sounds up. It sounds up my alley for real. And
Right.
it's Harrison Ford,
It's
which
Harrison Ford. There's a clip. There's literally a clip that there's two clips that my wife watches absolutely constantly, and it takes like one of the things that I can't talk. I'm not gonna mention it here because of language and a whole bunch of other things, but like it talks about like stereotyping in a white neighborhood, and it makes a funny comment on that. And then there's Harrison Ford doing carpool karaoke with Jessica Williams in a car, like singing like Every Morning by Sugar Ray. Like, are you kidding me? Like, are you kidding me? That is comic
What?
gold right
Okay,
there.
why didn't you tell me these when you were pitching the show for me? Because I would have already watched it by now. Come on, Jason. Well, anyways, if that's not the selling point to watch Shrinking on Apple TV Plus, I don't know what is. Uh, Thank you so much for being on this live with me, Jason.
I had a blast. I am so glad I had the opportunity to do this. I'm really hoping you guys have me back. And because it was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed talking to you and hanging out with you. And I love the channel. You guys are doing a phenomenal job, and keep up the great work.
Thank you, thank you. And thank you all that stuck with us and watched with us. And thank you to all the people that are going to watch later on when this isn't live. Remember, thumbs up, comment. We literally answer all comments that come on. So just if you want to talk to us, talk to us. It's fun. Well, see you all next time and